have any questions from like?
Yeah, Jit, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay. What about you,
Yeah,
Dev?
Rakesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, at my side, I was trying to develop the things as you suggested. Okay, so few things I able to do, and few things I have some questions. So do I need, can I present my system to you? Is it okay? Or
Okay. I'll make you the presenter. Then you can.
okay.
1 minute. Let me. Okay. Now you can present. You can share your screen.
Okay. Become a presenter, download and switch to desktop version of the GoToMeeting. So do I need to download something for this?
Yeah, for presenter, you need to install GoToMeeting on your system.
Oh, it is saying to download something.
Yeah.
So
You
probably
just,
I need to download first.
yeah, you tell me like what is the issue. Let's see if we can
Yeah.
solve that issue.
Yes. Yeah. So Rakesh, like I did the same thing as you said, okay, but the first grid, okay, there are 3 cells in the grid, right? The first one where I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cell again, okay, and divided into 5 parts. It's looking that the look is looking little bad because between geo analysis and trend analysis summary view there are one line coming in between. Okay, so how to make it better presentation? Okay,
Okay.
and also I just wanted to make the thing center, okay, instead of moving the left margin and top margin, because left margin if I am doing some adjustment it can be done, but I don't want to touch that, but I want to make the text center. So these two things I'm looking, Rakesh, from you now.
Okay. Let me just open the dashboard which you are finally going to develop, and then
Yep.
so you are talking about the geo analysis, trend analysis, and summary button. Those things.
Yes. You see there is a line coming in between. Okay, but when you running this dashboard, there is no line. But in my case, lines are there.
Okay, where is the line? Are you talking about these lines, this dotted lines?
Yes.
Hmm.
Exactly.
These dotted lines are not. These are not lines basically. See, these are the grid. I have placed one grid there. If you see on the top cell also,
Uh-huh.
first cell, I am putting one grid. Okay, and this grid
Uh-huh.
has. You see the grid property, and I have grid 6 columns in the grid.
Yes, right.
Right. So first column I'm putting only logo. After that I'm putting that title, and after that I'm leaving one space blank. This is blank cell. Then
Uh-huh.
I have geo analysis, then trend analysis, and then summary.
Okay. So when you're running this, because at the design time it is saying this showing this dotted line. When you're
Yeah.
running this dotted line will not come?
No. Grids will not show. When you're running the dashboard,
Okay.
grid will not come.
Okay. Then it's perfect. I was having question in that side only.
Yeah, okay. Fine. So I think who else is joined? Yeah. Hi, Misbah. Can you hear us?
Hi, Rakesh.
Yeah. Hi. Good evening. So,
Yeah.
like, still Krishnan is joining. So, meanwhile, if you have any doubts from yesterday's class, we can talk about that. Do you have any doubts, Misbah, from yesterday's class?
No, nothing as such. I was like making those components. Everything is all right so far. Yeah.
Cool. So, you guys are able to create the dashboard, right? I think Krishnan also joined. Krishnan, are you able to hear? Hello, Krishna, are you able to hear me? If you're able to hear me, just type yes in chat window. Some issue is there with me. You are connected to audio, your audio is fine. If Okay, fine. If you're able to connect, then let's go ahead. If you have any doubts from yesterday's class, we can take those doubts, or else we'll start.
I have a quick question, Rakesh.
Yeah, Krishna. Yeah, Aziz, tell me.
That assigning that the data source, right?
Yeah.
Do we have metadata that you send it to us?
Yeah, I have shared the metadata file with you, right? I think.
So I'm assigning to CSV.
Yeah, you'll
Not
be using you just have to place the metadata file inside the repository. You just put the metadata file here. Apart from that, you don't have to touch the metadata file. While adding a data source, add a CSV data
right.
source, you just select the data file, not the metadata file. Just select the data file.
So I have the DS one.
Yeah,
That's the only data is able to get assigned
correct.
in my
Yeah, so when you
CSV.
right click and say edit initial view, you will see all the measures and all the key figures on the left hand side. Then you can drag and drop based on your requirement. In the
Drag and
row,
drop from where
on the left hand side, you have all the characteristics of the data,
right.
like cal month, department, gender, length of service. So you simply select gender, drag it to rows. So that in the preview also you can see in live preview, you have the gender here now. Then you select, right click on the gender and select which one you want to display, because right now it's displaying gender text and key both, male and one both. One is the key, 1 and 2 is the key, and text is male, female. So what you want to display, accordingly, you select your text. Now we have selected text, so it is displaying only male. Select OK. So now its initial view is set. Rename it, and it has gender information, so rename it as gender. Similarly, we'll add 2 more data sources. You can simply copy paste because it's same data source, right? So you can just simply
Right.
copy paste and edit it. One, we can add length of service and remove role. So this will be our length of service. And another one is country. So just remove it, remove role, put country or nationality. And you can select, okay, instead of displaying text and key, let's display only text.
But in our data, your
Yeah.
data is different.
No, it's same data. I have shared the same data file.
So I think I did not get it this one. The only three columns I got it.
No, you don't open that in Excel. You don't open that in Excel.
No, I did not. I did not. But when I assign it, right?
Yeah.
So in the chart, I can see only
No,
three
no.
rows are there.
Okay, because you have assigned directly. You have not set its initial view. If you right click on the data source and say edit initial view, then you will see when you are adding for the first time, you will simply see these 3 lines, these 3 records, right? Now you need to add a characteristics to it. So you can add a characteristics in rows. After that, you will see multiple records.
Where is characteristics? I think
Okay. See, when you add a data source, add CSV data source, you select the CSV file, click open. Now your data source is there, right? What you have done is you simply dragged and dropped here. Now you have 3 lines, right?
Right.
Now you edit its initial view, and there is nothing in rows right now. If you see in the rows, there is nothing. So from the left hand side, all the characteristics, you bring one characteristics which you want to display in that chart. So you bring length of service. Now it will display length of service in that chart. So see, you see first chart, now it shows multiple records. Okay, so I'll delete this anyways, this data source, because we have already 6 data sources. Now the thing is, okay, let's assign a data source. But first chart is for risk. So I'll assign the risk data source. And then similarly, yesterday what we did is we did a data selection, and we are displaying only total head count. Now we are displaying total head count by risk. 1 minute, let me just see what is there in risk. Just edit it and see. It has role, so let me just bring the risk value here. Member is okay. So now it is displaying 3 records. In our final version, it has to be a stack bar chart where we are displaying all the risk. So we'll change the chart type here. Now, when you select the component and go to its properties, in the display properties, we have chart types. So instead of column, we can select different charts here. So there are different chart types available, and there are additional chart types also. If you click on additional chart type, you will see some more charts. So you will be using heat and tree map, but trellis I have not seen a practical example where we can use trellis charts. But heat map and tree map you can use.
So how did you got the colors in that, Rakesh?
These colors are default colors. You can change the colors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we will see how to format that.
Only
Let's
one color.
no, because see, if you change the axis here, swap axis, and make it as true, you will see only one color. So we'll talk about this feature also. What is this swap axis? Now let's change the chart type, and we need a bar 100% stack. Okay, so now we got the same chart type as it was required. Now we are using a chart component. In 1.6 release, SAP has come up with another chart type, another chart component. That is info charts. So info charts are more advanced than the chart component, and it has more features available in terms of formatting. If you see for chart on the right hand side, additional properties, if you select a chart and see its additional properties, it's taking time to pop up. Yeah, now you have limited. If you compare this, see, you have these properties available for formatting, and there are 3 tabs. But if you use an info chart, let me just delete this second chart, and what I'll do is I'll put an info chart there. I'll put a auto height and auto width. And I'll assign a, this is for department. I'll assign a department data source, data selection I'll do, total count. If you go its additional properties, you see there are so many tabs available for formatting. More options are available. So this is more advanced chart than the normal chart component. So in future they are going to enhance this particular component more, and there is additional chart types also. If you see chart configuration, you have more chart types available here compared to the chart component. So try to use this component instead of normal chart component.
Rakesh, how did you come to this screen?
Yeah. Okay. You select the info chart on the properties. For normal chart, when we talk about normal chart, we can set the chart type by this drop down, chart type drop down in the properties.
Right.
When in case of info chart, when you select info chart, now we have selected info chart. On the right hand side, instead of chart type, we have a property called chart configuration. If you click on that chart configuration, it will pop up one window where you can select your chart, which chart you want to display. So there we can display, we can select, okay, we want to display a bar chart. Okay. So we will use info charts instead of charts, normal charts. We will use info charts because they provide more flexibility in terms of formatting. So we'll say this is info chart, this is for summary page, and this is for department. Similarly, I'll remove other charts also. Instead of chart component, we'll be using info chart component. So I'll just paste the same component. This is the info chart, summary tab, and this is for risk. And I'll change the data source also to risk. Data selection is total head count, total count. And chart type, instead of bar chart, we will have a 100% stack bar chart. And then you can change. Right now it's showing 3 records, right? So, and we want just 1 record. So we can change so that it displays total head count in 1 line only. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's remove other charts also. And we'll just copy paste the same chart there also. Okay. This is length of 1 minute. Let me just see. This is for role. So role, I'll assign the role data source here, and it change its chart type to column chart. Now this is for my country. Here I'm displaying the country information. So let's take the country data source here, and this we are displaying in a donut chart. So the different charts we can take it. This last chart, the info chart. summary length of service, and this is again a pie chart. And again we need to change its data source to length of service. So now from information point of view, our 5 charts are displaying the information correctly. We have mapped the charts at least. Now we need to put images. So yesterday so yesterday we have placed one image component. Now what we can do is, Aziz, I'm just muting you. If you have any questions, you can unmute yourself and ask. There is little noise.
I could not.
Okay. Yeah. So to map the image, what you do is you select the image. On the right hand side, properties, in the display property, you select the image, click on browse. It will take you to the repository folder of your same application. There you need to place your images as well. So I'll just copy paste these images there in the repository folder. To open repository folder, you click on application, open repository folder, and just put all the images there. Whatever images you want to use, those images you can put there. Then again you select the image component, go to display properties, select on image, select the appropriate image. I'll just copy paste the same component, and this is image summary for female. Okay, let me just rename it properly. First we have male. Okay, it's already there. Female is already there, right? This component. So let's select the image. So we have the images now for male and female. Now this text boxes, we need to pop up these text boxes based on the, for example, based on this data source, this gender data source. So if male, for male it should show this, and for female it should show this. Now, till now we have not spoken or we have not used JavaScript. Now we will make use of JavaScript to display data on dashboard.
Rakesh, I have one question.
Yeah.
Can I?
Yeah, Dev, please.
Yeah, Rakesh, like when it comes to graph and all, it looks okay. Like if the screen is big, it will get adjust to the screen. If the screen is small, then it will get adjust to the small screen.
Yeah.
But if the image is image, and if client want, the image should be up to this much size. Okay. After that, it will get stretched and it will look weird.
Correct.
So in that case, how we can control it?
Correct. So in that case, you don't give the auto height and auto width option. For example, if someone says that I want height is 100 and width also 100 always. Now, if you run this application, it will always have 100 height and 100 width only. It will never change.
Okay, so my question here, we will give it auto, but in the background we will do some program like if the image is stretching beyond this limit, then keep it within this. Is it possible? I'm thinking something different.
No, if you can think logically, yes, you can do that also. If you say that if my image is crossing 200 pixels, then it should not cross more than 150 pixels. That yes, you can do that through JavaScripting. You can. Okay. We'll take that kind of scenario later on once we are comfortable with JavaScripting, basic JavaScripting. Because JavaScripting is new for you guys, so let's first focus on JavaScripting. How to do the basic JavaScripting. Later on, we'll play around with other stuff.
Okay, Rakesh.
Yeah. So for now, let's I'll give auto height and auto width. Later on, we'll take different examples, different scenarios. Okay. So what we need to do is now, if we run our dashboard, right? Here we want to display the total head count. Here total hires, total attrition, and here how many males, how many females. Rest all the data is updated here on the charts. To put the data here in sample text, okay, so this is my component name, TB summary mail. Okay, when this should update is when we are running the application for the first time, it should update. So I'm just going at the application level. On startup, my data source is already loaded. So now I have the data in my data source. What I need to do is I need to fetch the data from data source and put it in this text box. Okay, so this is my text box. Now if you do proper naming conventions, you don't have to copy paste your component name in JavaScript editor. This is the script editor. This gives you an option. You can put control and space and it will give you option. It will help you in writing the JavaScripting. Now you want to put assign a text box, assign some values to the text box. You type TB and put control space. So it will filter out all the options for you. So now you have these text boxes. Now if you are using naming convention, right? So you will know, okay, I'm talking about the text box which is in summary and which exactly is this text box. So it becomes very easy. If you don't give naming convention and you leave text underscore 1, text box underscore 2, 3, then it becomes very difficult to remember. So if you use proper naming convention, it will help you in JavaScripting. So you give the component name, then you put a dot, component dot. Then it will give you all the methods available for that particular component. JavaScripting is nothing but using the correct methods. That's it. All the methods are available for you to use. So you are not going to write a new method. You will just use the existing methods, whatever is available for that particular component. For text boxes, these are the components available. If you talk about a info chart, let's take an info chart. There will be different set of components available, different type of methods will be available. So there are different type of methods available for that. Similarly, for other components, other type of methods will be available. So let's say text box summary mail dot, it will list all the methods. A bit slow, so it's taking little time. Yeah. Okay, so we want, okay, so there are mostly two type of methods. 90% methods are two type. And guys, if this is not clear, you just ask me again. Okay, in JavaScripting for Design Studio.
Rakesh,
Yeah.
is it a subset of JavaScript, or is it JavaScript exact, like actual JavaScript, or is it a subscript?
See, it's JavaScript. You will be using JavaScript, but you are not creating any methods. You will just simply use whatever methods are available with Design Studio. So it's very easy. It's not, you don't need a programming skill to use these methods. I'll tell you how to use these methods. So if I'm just telling this, if it is not clear, just ask me again. Okay. JavaScripting, there are two type of methods, mostly 90% methods, right? Whatever is available in the list, there are two type of methods. Either they are get methods or either they are set methods. By the name itself, you can make out that get is you want to get something from the component. Set means you want to give some input to the component. So based on your requirement, you will know whether you want to get something from the component or you want to set something to the component. For example, in this scenario, we want to give a value to the text box so that it can display that value while running. So we want to set a value. We don't want to get something from the text box. We want to set something to the component. Okay. So what we'll do is, instead of all the methods, we will first shortlist the methods by putting set. We need to use a set method because we want to give something to the component. Okay. Now we have limited number of methods available. We can go one by one. Initially, what you will do is you will go one by one and see what is the right method. What you want to do is you want to set a text or a value to the component. So definitely we can't use this method. By looking at the name, we can make out that whether that method will be useful or not. The method which is useful is set text. When you click on set text, it is asking what text you want to set. Okay. If we go back, that what exactly we want to show there is, we want to show the value from this data source. And what value we want to display is, we want to display this particular value. Okay. Again, we'll go back to the data same scripting part. So what is the text we want to display? We want to display a text. We want to fetch a value from data source and we want to display there. So what is that data source is? This is gender data source. Again, now what we want to do is, we want to get the value from the data source. Its value is already there with the data source. So put get method. It will shortlist all, it will show all the get methods. Now you go one by one and all. Initially it will take some time, it may take some time, but afterwards, once you are comfortable, you don't have to remember these methods. You will remember most of the methods, why they are used. So we want to get the data as string because it's a text box. Text box is accepts input as a string. It should be a string. You can use get data method also to get the data, or you can use get data as a string. So directly it will convert the data into string and give it to you, so that directly you can assign it to text box. If you use a get data method, if you got the data, again you need to convert that data into string using some other method. So what method we will use is, we'll use a get data as a string method. Now it is asking for two parameters, measure and selection. Measure means, because we have 3 columns in data source. If you see our data source, we have multiple measures, multiple key figures, because text box, it will fetch just one value. So which measure you want to fetch and what is your dimension value. Dimension value is nothing but the selection. So those two things you need to give there. Measure, how you can select measure is, simply select the measure, control enter, it will list you all the measures. You can select total count. Similarly, selection, now it is asking for you key value pair. You need to give key and value. So either you can give key as, okay, gender is my key and value is 1.
Rakesh didn't understand this one. Gender value 1. What is that?
Okay, just 1 minute. I'll tell you the another simple scenario. Simple method. I'll tell you the simple method. Okay, when you are using get data as string method, what you do is simply select both the parameters, put control and space. It gives you option to select the data. If you select both, then only it will give. If you select only measure and put control space, okay, that time also it is giving, but then you need to delete the selection method. You go to select data and you can actually select, instead of writing, you can select, okay, I want to display this value. Okay. and select OK. Now you remove the selection part because selection part is also taken care.
So it took the key value, right?
Yeah.
Text with key.
Correct. And now you close your bracket, and to end JavaScript statement, you just put a semicolon. So now we have assigned the value. Let's run and see. So while running, first data source are executing, it's bringing the data, then our startup script is executing it. In startup script, we have written this script to fetch the value from data source and assign it to the text box. It has assigned the value here. Up to here, is it clear?
Rakesh?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rakesh, one key one represents male, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Guys, any question till now? Is this concept clear? How to use data JavaScripting? We'll be using JavaScripting multiple times, but how to use effectively? What is get methods? What is set methods? Is it clear, or you have any doubt?
Is there some sort of documentation that you have maintained, or you have some sort of text file that has a description with each method,
No.
or you have it from SAP,
No,
like some notes?
SAP also doesn't provide any methods like documentation for methods. Every method, yeah, the help is available directly here itself. For example, if you say this, if you just go there, select the method from the list on the right hand side, it will give you some detail about that method.
Okay.
Okay. So that is the only documentation available. But by looking at the name itself, you can make out. Like get CSS class is you want to get the CSS class value of this particular component. Get text, if we have assigned any text and we want to get that text, we can use that method. If we want to get the width of the component, what is the width, and we want to use that width in our some other logic, we can use that. Is visible, if we want to hide or unhide this component, we can use this method. On click method is there. What happens when we click on that component, that method is on click method. So once you start creating dashboards, you'll come across different methods you'll be using, and you will remember these methods after some practice. So now let's go back. Now our next text box is for female. Similarly, for female, we'll be doing the set text. Again, that text is coming from dsgender dot get data as a string, the same method. And you select the data again, and this time you select the data for female. To end the statement, put a semicolon. Instead of doing that, you can simply copy paste this also, as you know that we have changed only gender value from 1 to 2. So that way you can you will save a lot of time. You can just simply copy paste the script and paste it. To uncomment something, if you don't want to use like any other programming languages you know, right, you can use this double backslash. It will uncomment. It will not you can add your comments. So you can say, okay, this is for female, so that you can put your comments, and if you want to put more comments, now you can add whatever you want. So same programming techniques you can use. Okay, so now we have another text boxes. We have a text box for head count, text box for total hire and total attrition. So what we'll do is we'll assign the values for these text boxes also. So total head count is, this is the total head count dot set text. Again, this value we can get it from any data source because all the data source has this value. So let's take it from gender only. Dot get data as string. And select the data. This time we can select the total. Instead of male female, we can select the total. This is our total head count. Simply copy paste. So instead of total head count, this time is new hire, and new hire instead of total head count, select new hire. Attrition. Now let's run. Okay, so these values are overlapping. Let me just check why these are overlapping. So in filters, this is okay. So I have not given enough space. It's also 0 and 0. Yeah, so now you see that total headcount value is this total head. Okay, these text boxes also we need to change. So instead of total headcount, we'll give title as new hire, and this is attrition. Yeah, so it has total headcount, new hire, attrition, these values. So most of the things are there now. Now what we need to do is it should show values for a particular time period. As of now, it's showing the values for everything. We have not restricted the data source for a particular month only. So if we select a particular month, for that particular month, it should show the data. So first we need to populate these values, this time period. So we'll populate when this value should come is when we are starting the application, that time it should have values, this time period drop down. So on the starting itself, what we'll do is we'll load the values into drop down. So drop down dot, we want to set values. We want to give values to the drop down. So set methods, and if you just go through these options, there's a set items, and the value, again this value is coming from any data source. One data source you can take. So let's take DS gender only. Now we need a characteristics value. We need value of period, month value, right? So it's a characteristics. So get dimension. Not this, get dimensions. Get member list, get member list. So that is, this is the method to get the values. So which dimension we want to display is to display cal month. Now these things you can simply select, okay, external key member to display which one we want to display is we want to display the text while displaying, and how many values, maximum values we want to display, that we can control. If we put 0, that means it can have multiple maximum 50 records, 50 values. If your values are more than 50, then you give the value 100, 200, 500. The more the value you give, it may slow down a bit. So you should not have more values in drop down. So let's, for example, we have months only. So let's give it's less than 50. So we'll give 0.
Rakesh, what you said about external key, can you come again here?
This one?
Yes, yes.
This is useful. See, when sometimes you have you know, right, this let me just note it down in explain you in. Sometimes with info objects, especially in time period, right, you have some K4 period 2016, the values will come like this. Non-compound key will be there, right?
Yes.
Right, and you want to use only 2016 as a key.
Okay.
And that is your non-compound key. Your external key will be, this is your external key and this is your non-compound key. So accordingly you can select, okay, which key you want to use basically while filtering. So most of the cases you can use internal key or external key. These two keys will work. But when it comes to time period, you may have to use sometimes non-compound key also. So you need to see which key you are able to filter with which key. Most of the time it will work with external key or internal key. So let's run this. Now you have all the selections here. But when you do a selection here, nothing is changing on the dashboard. Right? So what we need to do is, when we interact with time period, that time the dashboard should change. That filter should be applied on all the data sources so that all the charts will reflect the same thing. So that filtering part and all, we'll do it in next class, how to filter the data. Today what we have seen is, instead of chart, it's better to use info charts because it provides more features or more flexibility in terms of formatting. So wherever we can use info chart, we'll use info charts because there are more chart types available. Another thing is we have just started the basic JavaScripting, how to write a JavaScripting, where to write a JavaScripting, and how you can make use of set and get methods, where you need to use get methods, where you need to use set methods, and how to use, we have used just one single method, two methods, sorry, one for drop down, how to set values to drop down, and how to set values to text box. Again, we have seen one method, how to get a value from data source. So we have used couple of methods, JavaScripting methods, and we have learned today what a technique to write JavaScripting, how to write JavaScripting. So this is just a basic JavaScripting, and we have just started.
Yeah, Rakesh,
Yeah,
can you just repeat where we have used zero in some period, some periods scripting? There is a zero towards the end, right? That's used. Can you tell me what exactly you have used this for?
This one is how many values you want to load. Basically, let's say I want to load 4 values only, and in the data source I have multiple values. Instead of 4, I have 12 or 13 values. So if I use 4,
12 months.
Yeah, if I use a 4 value, it will give me 4 values only. So how many values you want to display there? How many values you want to add? So if you know the values, you can say, okay, I know that always it will be 12 months only. So you can put 12. Or if you don't know how many.
So 0 means default, right?
0 means default.
0 means default.
Yeah. Okay. 0 means default. It's not like if you add 15 also, it will have 12 values because your data source has 12 values only. But if you put 0, maximum it can have 50 value. So if up to 50 is fine. If you have more than 50 values, then and you assign 0, it will take only 50 values.
Okay.
Okay.
And regarding external key, can you just clarify a little bit more? I was a little bit confused.
Okay. So external key, see, you have option to select external key or internal key. This key is used because when you do a selection, it will not filter the when we select it, we'll get a value after selection. That value from the front end, you will see, okay, we have selected April 2016, but in back end, actually we are selecting a key. So which key you want to use? It's an external key, it's an internal key, it's a non-compound key. So which key you want to make use? Because there can be multiple keys for single info object. Mostly in case of time period, you will have multiple keys. Else you will have always single key. If it's a gender or it's a role or it's any other country, you will have single key only, country key. It's so either you use an internal key or external key, it works in the same way. But in case of time period, sometimes you may have to use non-compound keys also. But 90% case you will use external key or internal key. I have used external key because it was first on the list. I can use internal key also. There is no difference.
So for example, if it's personal area that's being used or a org unit, will it be an internal or an external key? If it's a key for a personal area or an org unit.
See, external key if you use, that means, see, internal keys you can use if you have not defined the keys. The keys are defined from the system. Keys are coming from the system only, then you can use internal key. But if keys are not coming from the system and still you want to filter. For example, I'll give you one example that you are loading data into drop down box. Okay, you have a drop down box in your dashboard and the values are not coming from any data source for this drop down, and you are hard coding the values within your Java using JavaScripting. Okay, so how you can do that is, for example, td underscore summary, I'm adding just one more value to this period drop down. So I'm adding a value, add items. So this value here I can give a hard coded value 2016, or let's say May 2010, and it should show me as May 2010. So that way also I can add values into the drop down. Now this is my key, this is my text to display, which will display while running, and this is the key. Basically this key, now when we are filtering the data source, another data source will pass this key as a filter on another data source, and this is an external key, it's not internal, it's not coming from the system, it's an external to the system. So that time you will use external key for filtering purpose while doing the filtering. So there is a difference between internal and external. What is external is which is not coming from the system, that is external.
Okay. Okay.
See, you have a method called data as a string, right? You have a method called data as a string ext also. So you will have some methods which are internal methods, some are external methods. So if the value is not coming from the system, then you use external methods. If the value is coming from the internal system, you use internal method. But external keys will work for internal values also. So you can use external for internal things also. It will little bit slow down the performance. But if you improve the performance, you cannot make the difference. If you will run with internal key also, you will not be able to make the difference because it's milliseconds. This difference will be in milliseconds. You can use internal key also, so that it will take the database keys instead of the keys. First it comes to the Design Studio, then it will convert its own keys, and you, instead of using those keys, you are using the database keys. So most of the cases you use internal keys, but if you use external key also, it will not give you any error. But sometimes you have to use external keys only because you have defined the keys inside JavaScripting, inside the program. Those are not stored on database.
Rakesh, like in that case, like can we trace like what exactly the data coming for external and internal key, so that we will have a better picture for programming and visualization using any method like breakpoint or whatever, I don't know. So is there any process to know like what exactly data coming here?
Right now we know that cal month is coming from the data source. We know it is coming from the data source only, right? So we can use internal key or external key, both, no issues, both will work fine. But if we are adding the data, hard coding the data, we are defining the keys here in the Design Studio dashboard, we are defining the keys. Then if we want to use this key, we will use always external. We need to use external only.
Okay. Any best practices for that, like which we can follow?
See, best practice is always use external key. Try to use external keys so that you don't have to worry whether it is defined in the database or it is defined in the system. Sorry, in the dashboard. Okay. Yeah. So if you use external key, it will work for both cases. So you don't have to worry. Okay. It will reduce the performance by 1 millisecond, which is negligible. Not even 1 millisecond, you will not be able to measure that. But yeah, there is one additional step, so that's why it will be a little bit slow, but that performance you can't measure, that how much it has slowed down. So either you use external key or internal key, it doesn't matter. If you use external key, you will not face issues if you have defined that key in the dashboard also.
Okay, Rakesh.
Yeah. So any other question for today's class?
Yeah, Rakesh, one more question. Just curious to know, like you have demonstrated the things. So if I want to see top 5 attrition, top 6 attrition region, top 5 attrition region, top 6 attrition region.
Yeah.
So can we make it dynamic way, bringing some graph over there?
Correct.
Is it possible?
Yeah. So you can calculate top N or bottom N in Design Studio also using Java scripting. You can do that. But I'll suggest if the system is BW, and you are doing, you can do this top N calculation in Bax also, right? It is very easy in Bax compared to Design Studio. You can do in Design Studio also, but I'll suggest if the data source is non-SAP, then only you try that approach. Else you try. See, the thing is, for any dashboard, not only Design Studio dashboard, for any dashboarding tool, it is always the best practice is do all the calculation. Whenever it is possible, do it at the backend level. So if
I'm thinking on this CSV. I'm thinking on this CSV file, doing some manipulation, adding some reason, okay, and then wanted to bring those things
correct.
in this,
yeah.
to present to my organization.
Correct. So
in that way
you can do that using Java scripting, and for that a little bit of advanced Java scripting is required. Maybe we'll talk about this scenario. You can note it down. We can talk about this scenario maybe after 8 or 9 classes. So once we are comfortable with Java scripting, because else you'll not be able to relate. So first let's go to that level that when you should be able to understand those kind of methods and that complex Java scripting. So let's go to till that level, and then we'll talk about that. Yes, it is possible. You can calculate that. You can do that calculation at the dashboard level also.
Okay. Yeah, I made a note of that.
Yeah.
This and that picture was I was telling now. So
correct.
It should be dynamic. Yeah, I made a note of this.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We can take these kind of scenarios. Yeah. Any other question, guys?
Yeah, Rakesh, when you execute, right?
Yeah.
You see the values.
Correct.
And you see the colors on the top, from Denmark and Germany and all those things.
Correct.
Does that comes automatically?
Yeah. So Design Studio charts, right? If you select any chart, you go to its additional properties, and there are multiple tabs. So there is a second last tab for chart, this colors. So there you can go and change that change its. For example, if you want to, instead of this color, you want some other color, you just simply change it.
So how did you get this screen on the right side?
Okay. So you select a chart, you select a component. By default, properties will be there, right? Either properties or additional properties you may have in this 1 minute. Okay. For you, I think, let me just reset it. Reset the layout. You may have in this is your layout, I guess. So you will have properties and additional properties below. Right? So you go to additional properties, and then you go to data series. There you can change the chart colors. I prefer putting in parallel. So this is
how the Denmark.
Yeah, so you can change the colors here, right? This is my first country. So if you go here, this is my first, it will start from here. So Denmark is my first country. So which color you want to put, that color you can put for first series. Then second is Germany. This is for Germany. You can change the colors here and run. It will reflect. Even in the design mode also, you can see this is my Denmark, this is my Germany. So Denmark color is changed, Germany color is changed. So you can change the colors accordingly.
So you change these names on the left side, right? That's near the cells.
Sorry?
The names you have changed in the text names has been changed in the cell at the left side. You have the cells, right? I mean, in the before screen, not this one, the development screen.
Okay. This one?
You go back to then you see the cells over here, right?
Yeah.
So here we can change the names, you said, right?
For the
Like
cell,
CR something.
for
Yeah.
cell you can't change. Cell is always
No, no,
fixed. Yeah,
the bottom.
component name you can change. Yeah, so component name always give some meaningful name and use naming conventions. So it becomes easy while doing the JavaScripting, and it for maintenance point of view also it becomes very easy. So where you have used this component, based on the use of the component, you give a name. Because this is an info chart, I have given ICH underscore, it's under summary tab. So I give summary underscore, it is used to display country information. So I have used country. So some meaningful naming convention you give so that it becomes very easy while doing the JavaScripting. When we want to refer this component in JavaScripting, you don't have to come and here and see, okay, this is my name, and again you need to go there and write that name. So it will waste a lot of time, right? Going back and
Yeah,
forth.
because at one point you'll see by you doing yourself, right? And I feel, how did he did this? How he did that?
No,
So
if
those are the
I might be doing a little bit faster. So if you miss something, you just immediately ask me. If something is not clear, right? You immediately ask me and ask, okay, how you did that. So I'll explain you again, because sometimes I'm little faster. So
right, right.
because I have some agenda
Because
for the class, I need to complete something.
right.
I'll
So
go with
like
some
these
place.
gender male and female images you have already sent to us, right? You shared us.
Yeah, yesterday I have shared it. How to set it, I have already told you. You just put those images inside the repository folder, and then in the images you can assign simply select the image, assign.
Okay.
Similarly for the next image also, you assign the female image. That's it.
So we have to make a repository file, or
So
it's automatically
the
there.
repository is already there. Repository folder is already there. You just need to place the files. Whatever files I have shared, copy all the files in the same repository folder.
Okay, just copy and paste.
Yeah, copy and paste. Just go to application, open the repository folder, and there you place all your 5 files. 2 files will be there. This BIP file and properties file will be there. Don't touch those files, and you just put your 5 files, whatever I have shared.
Right.
So before tomorrow class, you should be able to come to this level. Whatever we have done this today, whatever we did today, we have created a basic prototype of the dashboard without any
Right.
filtering, but we have assigned all the data sources to the correct charts and correct text boxes. Now we need to work on filtering, which we will do it tomorrow. How to filter the data source and all, we will see tomorrow. And then we'll start about formatting and all.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, guys? Or if you don't have any questions, then we can.
Rakesh,
Yeah, Dave.
Rakesh, one last question. Rakesh, I was telling in my previous class that I'm having a dashboard.
Yeah.
Okay, so which way when I'm running in Chrome, okay, it is coming perfectly. Okay, the lines are all coming perfectly. But when I'm running in Internet Explorer, it's showing some issues. Okay, so I will send a screenshot to you.
Okay.
Please please see that and let me know your observation sometime when you're free.
Okay. Definitely, I'll do that. You do one more thing. Apart from those screenshots,
Mhm.
what you do is you export the application from here. Go to application,
Okay.
export it, select
Uh-huh.
all the, by default it will be selected, reference files will be selected. You click on next
Mm,
and select
mm.
a folder location like desktop, select OK
Okay.
and finish.
Mm.
So it will export all your application into zip file. Open the export folder. Okay, this is the file, and you send me this file as also.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so it will help me in debugging, like where exactly is the problem, what is the problem. I can debug.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
You know how to export, right? You understood. Go to application
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
yeah.
I got it. I got it.
So you send me that
Thanks,
file also.
Rakesh.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So any other question, guys? Or shall we close then? So Christian has some issue with mic. So if you want to ask anything, you can just type it. And if you want to ask tomorrow, it is fine. So you can join a little early, 5 minutes. I'll start at 5:55 my time. So around 7:25 or so, so that we can discuss the whatever doubts you have. Okay, fine. Misbah, anything from your side?
Uh, thank thank you. That's about it.
Okay, fine. And fine then. Aziz, you want to say something?
Actually, I'll come up with tomorrow early morning and like 10 minutes before I'll come and see if I can figure out all the things in one manner.
Okay.
The export thing also, I will try to do it. You said export my things, then you can check it in your side, right?
Yeah, you just export it and send me the issues. I'll check it. What is the issue?
To your email?
Yeah, same email. You just send me all the files, especially the export files, and I can check.
Okay, wonderful. I'll do that. Thank you.
Fine. Then I'll end this meeting and I'll share the recordings in another half an hour or so.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for your time.
Good.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.